Okay, after I've shown you all the color photo retouching features here in Photoshop, this is a real life example. I'm going to go to File and Open, and in Chapter 8, I will go to folder number 9, Chevy Color Retouching. This was an actual photo that was brought to me. Okay, and again, you're going to have to practice with Photoshop because you never know what's going to fall into your lap. The gentleman who brought this to me, I basically had about 20 minutes to touch it up. Okay, this was a photo of his dad's car. He wanted to give this photo to his dad for his birthday. His dad loved this car, and unfortunately, the car got totaled in a wreck. So he had one photo left of his classic, lovable 57 Chevy, and he wanted to touch it up, but whoever took care of the photos didn't do a good job. So I want to know how to make this photo stand out as if we took it close to yesterday, not 35, 40 years ago. You got to keep in mind, when the original person took this photo, there was a dark bluish black, kind of a navy blue Chevy on a green lawn on a sunny day. It wasn't this orange nuclear holocaust kind of look to it. Just the color has all been bleached out of this photo. The original car is still stuck or buried somewhere in there. I just have to know the right methods to bring it back out. Okay, so here's what I did with this photo. First thing, you'd be amazed how many people scan photos and can't scan a straight photo. Every time I get scans from people, they're crooked. It's like drives me nuts. So I'm going to click once on my crop tool. Then I'm going to come up to the straighten level right here next to the word straighten. And I'm going to put the plus of this cursor right on the edge of the grass. Click and drag all the way across that grass. When I let go of the mouse, that's going to straighten out my photo for me. Now it's just a matter of pulling the top down just inside the edges of the photo. Pull the bottom back up. You want to just slightly cut off the edge of the photo because you don't want a little sliver of white space. So I'm going to pull this just inside those edges. And I hit return. Okay, so at least we've got a straightened out photo. The only other problem is when this photo was printed, it was printed on that curved corner paper. So now all 4 corners are blank. They're white. But luckily, all 4 corners are also plants. And plants are easy to photo retouch. So I'm going to zoom in on this lower right corner. I can hold my space bar to push it up. Take my clone stamp. Hold Control and Option for a slightly larger brush. I Option click the grass, and then I paint more grass. Hold my space bar for the hand tool, and I'll flick it across over here. Option click the grass, paint more grass. Pull it back down. Go with a smaller brush right in here. Option click the tree, paint more tree. Option click the tree and paint in the corner right there. And then I'll scroll across to the upper right corner. Maybe make my brush a little bigger again. Option click the base of the tree and paint more base right up in there. So now I have all 4 corners cleaned up, looking good. Okay, once I add that, those are just the minor touch-ups. Everything else from this point on, for the most part, is going to be color editing. So I'm going to hit Command J. I want to do my color editing on a copy. That way, if I screw this up, I can at least go back to the original right here. Okay, I always do my major changes to a copy. So then, since I was on my own, I had to figure this out on my own. You got to look at it that way. The person who gives you the job doesn't know how to do it. That's why they came to you. So you got to prove your worth to them. If you don't know how to do it and they don't know how to do it, you're both screwed. So I got to figure this out on my own. Okay, so I went through all the methods that I've shown you before. First thing I tried is image and auto color. That didn't work. That color still looks horrible. Edit, undo. I tried image, auto contrast. That didn't work. It made it just slightly lighter, but the color still is terrible. Edit, undo. Image and auto tone. Still looks like the first time I tried it. Still doesn't look good. Edit, undo. Then, since those automated processes didn't work, I tried doing it by hand. Image menu, adjustments, levels. The problem here is if I take the brights, I'm just going to make that ugly color brighter and still ugly. If I take the middle slider, it's just going to make it lighter or darker. If I take the left slider, levels is not fixing my colors at all. I tried image menu, adjustments, hue and saturation. I tried to desaturate, but then it's just a black and white photo. I tried to isolate the reds in the photo and desaturate the reds. You can kind of start to see there was a dark blue car there, but man, this color looks terrible. So I don't want to do that with the reds. Okay, we'll set that back. I tried my target adjustment tool, went on the reds and tried to pull them out. But again, that's still going to give me the same result. Even hue and saturation is not working. So I canceled that. I tried image menu, adjustments, photo filter. Instead of warming up the photo, I tried cooling down the photo, cranking this up. That didn't work. The next one didn't work. The next one didn't work. If the photo is red, I tried green. Nothing was working on this photo. I was starting to panic a little bit. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't get this color out. And then I stopped and evaluated what I am looking at. This is an outdoor shot. One predominant color that's taking over the scene, but there is gray in this photo. All the gray of the asphalt back here. And this little oil stain right there is what's going to help me to fix this entire photo. Sounds like magic, and sometimes Photoshop does look like magic, but that little oil stain is going to be my savior because that's gray. So here's how I brought out the colors. Image menu, adjustments, levels. One more time. Okay, in your levels, what a lot of people overlook are these three little eyedroppers over here on the right. Okay, these are your shadows, your midtones, and your highlights. So the one on the far right, if I hover over it, says sample in the image to set the white point. So what this wants me to do is click on the white eyedropper and click on a white part of this photo. What is the brightest, whitest part of this photo? I'm going to click that white car across the street. Okay, then I jump all the way over to the far left. This is the black point eyedropper. So I'll click that. And this wants me to click on the blackest pixel in this photo, which for me would be right up underneath the wheel well, right back in here, like that deepest back part of the wheel well, right above the tire, and I'm going to click. Then all the magic is where I balance out my tones with my mid-tone slider. It even says sample to set the gray point. So when I click on that, move this out of the way, I'm going to target this oil stain in the street and click. Look at that. That blue car was sitting there the whole time. That is awesome. Okay, I can click other areas. Just see what that does. That looks a little more blue. This looks a little more green. But I want that gray point. Okay, that gives me that nice blue car. I keep clicking a couple of pixels here. Just see if I can get that nice blue car in there. And I like that look. I click OK. Here's before and there's after. The photo's still a little dark. So I'm going to try a few adjustments here. So first thing, if somebody sits outside and takes pictures of their car, that's because they love that thing. They wash that thing every weekend. They polish and wax it. So this car should really sparkle. And over here on the right, car's looking pretty flat and pretty dark. So I want to brighten up this scene a little bit. I'm going to hit Command J. Okay, this was my original where we cropped it. Then I did my main color adjustments. Now I'm going to do some more subtle color adjustments. I do my photo retouching in a series of steps. Okay, in order to brighten this image, image menu, adjustments, shadows, and highlights. That lights up the scene right there. Okay, I can definitely see the distinct edge of the car. I can see the reflection of the car next to it. I've added more sunlight to the scene. I can drag my radius left and right and see how that affects the values in my photo. Kind of want it over there so it gives the car a little heavier, more bolder look. And I'm going to push the colors just a little bit more. Right there. This car is looking really sharp, and I'll click OK. I love that. So again, here's the first step. There's the color editing, and there's the brightening. Okay, I'm going to run a levels adjustment just to touch up a little bit more. Image menu, adjustments, levels. I'm going to bring my shadows in just a little bit, kind of give it a more solid contrast. Bring in just a few highlights. Areas are already pretty bright, so I don't want to do too much. And maybe the mid-tones just a little bit more. Really subtle, but in my eye, I can see the differences, so I'll click OK. Now keep in mind, this was a dark, dark, dark blue car, and I am seeing a very subtle hint or tint of blue. And that's because it's reflecting the sky above. And I want to bring out just a few more hints of blue in this photo. So right here, above my type tool are my toning tools. If I press and hold, I have a sponge tool. Okay, what the sponge tool is going to do is it's going to ask me what kind of working mode do I want. Do I want to desaturate the colors, which means like a sponge soaking up all the colors and pulling them out of the photo, which would eventually create a black and white photo. It's not what I want to do. I want to saturate my colors. Okay, and I'm going to hold Control and Option. We'll go with a bigger brush. And just like waxing a car, I'm going to do one wipe across this car. Just start over here. Click and drag. One long continuous motion. Drag, 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 drag. That's good enough. I get a little bit more blue. If you do it too much, it's going to look fake and then it's not going to be believable. But I just wanted a little more hint of blue to that car. One pass is good enough for me. If I make this brush a little smaller, I can do a couple of passes on the red right here. Bring out the red in the license plate. It's the only red in there. A little bit of red on that hood ornament there. Okay, good enough for me. I like it. Now, the only other thing I really want to look at is the bad paper that this was printed on. If I zoom in, you can see this terrible texture all over the paper. And that's because it had this pitted, kind of dimpled surface on the photo print, like the surface of a golf ball. There's a bunch of little divots, and the scanner picks those up. So this whole photo is covered with that texture. It just looks bad. Now, I'm not going to be able to get rid of every single bit of that texture, but I'm going to try my best. Anything will look better than what we have here. So in order to get rid of a surface, an overall surface texture, I'm going to run a noise reduction feature on this photo. And I've shown you the noise reduction feature before. It's part of Camera Raw. So I'll go right up here. Filter, Camera Raw Filter. I'm going to zoom in 1 or 2 clicks here, maybe 3. And over on the right, I'm going to click the third panel. These 2 little triangles, they're called the detail panel. Okay, right down below on the lower half, I've got a noise reduction. So again, I drag the luminance to the right. I can already see that starting to smooth out some of that detail. I drag the luminance detail to the left, to smooth it out even more. And I'll drag the color slider to the right to get rid of some of the spottiness in there. Okay, that's about as good as I can get. I'm still going to see some of it, but you know, if the customer gives me 20 minutes, what does he expect? If I had a couple days, I could do all that, but this is going to be good enough for him. So you can see if I hit the letter P, there's before, hit the P and there's after, you can really see a dramatic change in the quality of the photo. And I'm going to click OK. There we go. Let's strip it down again. Here's the beginning. There was my color editing. And there's my subtle retouching. Car's looking great, shiny, little hint of blue. The only other thing I have left is these big spots of color that I was not able to get rid of. Okay? The key mention here is spots of color. So I'm going to take my spot healing brush. I'll just go with a smaller brush and just kind of paint over these spots. Whoops, got to make sure I'm on the top layer. There we go. Paint out the spots. We'll hit that little edge right there. And just a couple of click, 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 click. We'll get rid of a lot of these little kind of standout spots which look like they just don't belong. They just too big. So we'll take them out. Just the main ones that really jump out to my eye. Again, the argument is if I had way more time, I could do a lot more with this. We'll take out a few spots in the grass here. But, you know, as I worked on this, the customer was sitting there and I was like, dude, you only gave me 20 minutes. This is the best you're going to get for that. How about next time you actually give me some time? You know, for 20 minutes, you're going to get a lot better than what you had before. So don't complain. Or, like I always say, if you're going to complain, do it yourself. You show me how easy it is. Okay? That has always been my argument. And 9 times out of 10, that'll shut people up. I always tell them, you came to me. I didn't come to you asking, hey, do you have any photos of your dad's car I can touch up? You came to me. So here's what I can do for you in the time you gave me. I'm not a magician. If it's so easy, again, do it yourself. It's not easy. So you're going to pay me. You're going to compensate me for that. This is what I can give you in that time frame. Okay, if I got a little bit of an edge that I can't fix or that little blob, I go in with my clone stamp, option click and clean up that little mess right there, option click and clean up that little mess right in there. And let's go in, just clean up a little more and look for any other big blue spots with my spot healing brush. Get a couple of them on the bumper and the grill here. That looks terrible, so we'll get rid of that. A few little, almost like little blue threads kind of floating around, little blue pieces of dust. So I'm just randomly kind of scraping a few of these out. Just, again, visually, the ones that kind of jump out to me. Like, why is there blue in your grass? That doesn't make sense. Little blue fireflies here. And it's looking pretty good. Just take out a few more here. And see what we can get right in there. That looks pretty good. Okay, a few more over here on this side. Okay. And now I'll zoom back out. And there we go. We have a beautiful car. No wonder he took a photograph of that car. He loved that car. He didn't like this car. This looks terrible. This is a photo you would probably just throw in the trash. But we color edited it with our levels. We punched everything up. And last thing I'm going to do is look at this little blob of blue in the street. And this little, I don't know if that's a piece of trash. But we'll take my spot healing brush and just get rid of these little spots right in here. A little spot on the curb. I'm going to keep that. I want to keep that little oil stain as a reminder. Thank you, little oil stain, for saving my life. And we got a decent photo ready, suitable for presentation. There you go. You're going to have to do stuff like that on your own in the future, and you're only going to know how to do that by constantly practicing. Good luck on your own. Hopefully this will help you to achieve some of those future results. But I wish I could be there to see what you get confronted with in your future. Share those with me. If you get images that are laid down on your desk, like, here, I need you to retouch this, show me what you're being faced with. I could give you some feedback in the future too, but this is what I did on this image, and the customer was more than happy. There we go. You can name yours Chevy Retouch, last name, first name, Chevy Retouch. Send it to me and show me what you can do with this.